Welcome to the Way We See It podcast.
where we talk about politics, social justice, and culture.
I'm Tati,
And I'm Ariana.
and we are your host of this podcast. Welcome back, everybody. This is episode 40, week 21. Literally, don't even know how to function. One, because it's the morning, and two, because it's the last episode for 2 months and everything for the summer, because we're gonna be outside. So, but welcome back, everybody. Thank you for listening. If you're new, hi, welcome. If you're new at episode 40, then catch up. But what's called, don't forget to check out our socials on Instagram and Twitter at The Way We See It with a C. And don't forget to check out our website. The link can be found in our bios, which has our blogs, current events, resources, citations, and more. And if you're on our YouTube, make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. And if you're not watching us on YouTube, which is where we post our visuals, you can always check us out there if you don't feel like just listening to our voices. But yeah, when you go there, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. So yeah, that's our intro for the last time for 2 months. And then this week's topic, we're discussing Pride Month. Woo-hoo.
Yes, being that it's June, we wanted to talk about Pride Month, the history, and um, things that we feel like people should know about Pride Month, how to celebrate, how do we feel about Pride Month. For me, I'm an ally for the LGBTQ plus community, and happy Pride Month to all those part of the community, to those who come out, those who not come out, those are still trying to figure out themselves. Happy Pride Month to all.
Yeah, I want to discuss it for the exact same reasons Ariana just said. She just words everything so beautifully. It's just a chef's kiss. But yeah, basically that's why I wanted to discuss it as well. Also because it's our first time discussing it on the podcast, so it's nice to show our listeners, especially if they are part of the community, that we support them as well. Especially because we talk about a whole bunch of topics. It'd be weird if this is the one thing I guess we didn't support.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that's why I really wanted to discuss it for this week. And we don't get into too much depth about it just because what's called, this is the last episode for season 2. Just wanted to put that disclaimer out there that usually when we have like a certain month like dedicated to something, we'll have every episode that month besides the free talk to discuss about it, certain things within that topic, like other subtopics that need to go into more depth. And then yeah, so maybe we'll continue that when we come back for season 3. Ugh, this is so weird saying season 3. And what's it called? But yeah, like this is what we're talking about right now, and then se acabó.
Yeah, thank you guys all for supporting us for season 2. We really appreciate you all.
Ugh, trying not to get emotional right now. Okay. So first, what is Pride Month? June is known as Pride Month to acknowledge the LGBTQ plus issues and those who impacted the community in 1969 by rioting the Stonewall in New York City. Within the month, cities around the world celebrate with festivals and parades to show their support and love for those in the community as well.
Okay, now we're gonna get into the history of Pride Month, just so you guys can get a brief knowledge of how it all came to be. Um, so while we were researching about the history, there's only been 3 presidents in American history that have acknowledged Pride Month. First, it was Bill Clinton, who announced in 1999 and the year 2000 that June was now Gay and Lesbian Pride Month. Following Clinton from 2009 through 2016, his whole presidency, Barack Obama declares June LGBTQ plus month.
Yeah,
And it
and
was
I did.
go, sorry.
Yeah, I didn't put Biden in there. I just realized, but yeah, Biden was the third president.
Yeah. And it was during the Obama administration where same-sex marriage was passed in 2013.
Yeah, that's what. But like when I had seen that, I was just like, Really? I didn't even like know that. Um, because I thought it was just like something that had been like, because I know like same-sex marriage, like you said, it wasn't passed until 2013, but I thought it was still like morally accepted at like prior, because I remember like that's what I was saying like in the last episode. I remember being in the second grade and it was like if you were gay, if you liked girls, like nobody cared. Like it was just like an okay thing. Like
Mhm.
be yourself. And so I thought it was like a thing that was normalized way before, but I don't know. I guess it was just these last, um, not including Trump, obviously, but the last three presidents that really acknowledged it and accepted it the most for this new generation, I guess.
Yeah. Because after what was the president after Bill Clinton? Bush, right?
Yes.
I think so. Yeah, it looks, yeah. I,
Yeah.
I didn't like Bush.
Yeah. What's called? I don't remember much about Bush's presidency. I just remember like having school off a lot, but then I found out eventually later on that that had nothing to do with Bush. So then I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, because I had said this earlier in season two, I honestly didn't pay attention to the presidents until I was like
Yeah, you,
16.
you were young when Bush was president.
Yeah, I was young. I was a baby,
Yeah.
literally cradled in my mom's arms at that point. But okay, so we had mentioned this a little bit before when we mentioned what Pride Month was, which was the Stonewall riot. Um, I feel like I've heard about this briefly, but not too much, so that's why I still wanted to mention it as well. So the Stonewall riot took place in 1969 in Manhattan, New York, in the Greenwich area. It took place in response to a police raid that began early that morning, and what's it called? A bunch of people in the area and patrons of the Stonewall, along with other people that lived in the area that I was saying, including more of the lesbian and gay um, people they had said specifically. I think because every time I read this when it came to the Stonewall, I just kept on saying lesbian and gay. And I think it also has to do with what we're going to talk about next. Like, um,
Yeah.
the other names didn't come along until later on, but basically, I'm just gonna say like LGBTQ
'Cause
community.
there were transgender like people at the Stonewall
Yeah,
uprising.
but they didn't consider them people. Like, still, like they didn't have a name for them. They called them like cross dressers and stuff. So, yeah, so basically, people in that area, which involved the LGBTQ community, they fought back with the police and everything when it came to the Stonewall. And I don't know, just since that movement, everything said, like, since they stood up for their rights and in that area, it was just like a big step forward in acknowledging that like they were people too. And it's just a day that they hold dear to them in their community because it's something that led to where they are now.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, the Stonewall Inn is a gay bar on Christopher Street, and the police raided that because during that time it was they didn't really accept like homosexual acts basically.
It was 1969.
1960.
Definitely was not accepted yet.
So the police raided that bar, and obviously since it was known as a gay bar, there was a lot of gay and like queer people there.
Hmm.
And the people responded.
And they were like, "The fuck is you doing?
So
Get
and
off of me!"
shout out to what Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera. They're like the two pioneers that like kind of started the whole movement. They're both transgender women. They're both not on Earth anymore, but shout out to them. They paved this way to the work that still fighting for rights today.
Yeah, for real. Because um, we've mentioned a lot of current events this season that also involve the LGBTQ plus community, like the Equal Rights Act and everything, which included the LGBTQ plus community as well, and just like a whole bunch of ish. But it's like that's where people like don't realize that like yeah, it may seem that you have your rights, but you're still being suppressed in some kind of way still, which still doesn't make it okay. So then the following one.
So when we look at the pride flag, which is the rainbow colors, all those represented during Pride Month include gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, agender, asexual, intersex, polysexual, pansexual, and non-binary.
So yeah, in addition to that, back in 2018, a graphic designer named Daniel Quasar, is that how you say his last name? Quasar? I think so. Redesigned the LGBTQ plus flag to be more inclusive. Daniel added a 5-colored chevron, to the LGBTQ plus rainbow flag to place a greater emphasis on the quote unquote inclusion and progression. The flag includes black and brown stripes to represent marginalized LGBT. It's such a tongue twister sometimes when you say it over and over again. LGBTQ plus communities of color, along with the colors pink, light blue, and white, which are used on the transgender pride flag. And then this year, Valentino Fayetti, her pronouns are she/they, who is an award-winning equality campaigner, redesigned the Pride LGBTQ plus flag to better represent the intersex community. The redesigned flag includes the addition of a large yellow triangle with a purple placed in the center. The term intersex refers to people born with sexual anatomy that doesn't fit the medical and societal definition of male or female. Deep.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool to see like the flag, the pride flag being redesigned to include more people. I think that's pretty dope. And we're probably gonna like make a post of like how the new flag looks like so people know about it, because I didn't know about it till some people that I know in my area told me about the new redesigned flag. So
Yeah, because I don't know if you know who Bretman Rock is. Like I posted him a few times on my actual story. Like he had posted a video of himself like in the beginning of Pride with like that exact flag with like the purple, I mean the brown, the yellow, the white, and like a triangle. And I was like, I've never seen this flag before, but I obviously put two and two together that it was for Pride. I just didn't know what it was until like eventually I started seeing more things that are on. So I was like, oh, good to know. And so then now we additionally know that as well from there being other people outside of just being lesbian, gay, transgender, every one of the things that we mentioned earlier, like being intersex, non-binary, polysexual, pansexual, asexual, and agender, they all have their own flags to like represent themselves. They could use the flag that we had just described in general, but they all individually have their own flag based off those colors as well. And so for the basic flag for Pride, which was just a rainbow, they all have a specific meaning that just thought you guys should know. So the red represents life, orange represents healing, yellow represents sunlight, green represents nature, blue serenity, and purple, which is spirit. And yeah.
I never knew that. I think that's so cool.
Yeah. And
Never.
I was like trying to think, I was trying to like figure out like out of all things why include sunlight and nature into it as like a meaning for those colors, but then like started thinking about it and I was like, okay, it could make sense and everything. It's just saying like,
Just live.
yeah, just like also just being at peace. The way I interpreted it, it was also like just being at peace with yourself and accepting everything around you that comes with it, and that also being nature. And nature's so pretty. So that's also something. So then the next one, how to celebrate Pride Month. So the first thing you could do is attend a Pride event or parade. This year, New York City will be having their annual Pride March in person with a virtual option on June 27, 2021. Due to the pandemic, the march will be organized differently by having march pop-ups or pop-ups.
Pop-ups.
Having March pop-ups instead of having the typical flow experience. And this year's annual theme of New York City Pride is "The Fight Continues." That's nice.
Yeah.
I was thinking about going, um, but like I also don't know who I'd go with. I mean, I have a lot of people I could go with, but like don't know if they could go.
Yeah. I've never been to Pride parade, but
Me either, but it's always like so fun, and you see them like like getting lit. And I know if I went to the Pride Parade, I'm definitely hearing like some Ariana Grande out there, with some like Lady Gaga. Because I was literally talking to my manager the other day, and he's gay. And oh my God, guys, you come into my store, if Rain on Me by Ariana Grande and Lady Gaga comes on, or just like Shakira, because Shakira is his favorite artist, this man will literally be singing in the store. Doesn't matter if he can sing or not. The fact is, he's always singing and trying to hit those high notes. You could be in the back of the store, which is like a good mile away, and you hear, ah! Like he'd be like going OD. So I know, like, I feel like he would definitely go to Pride also and be having a great time. And like that stuff makes me happy.
Also, like there's like if you look in your community, there's like pride events all over like New York State. Like for example, I'm going to a pride event like where I live. So
Yeah,
after this episode.
yeah, might have to bring the boys to educate them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Victor.
Like the way they're doing it in New York City, because there's not gonna be like a march, it's not gonna be like a flow. It's gonna be like different like stations with like
Mhm.
and I'm gonna be in one of the stations basically.
Yeah, Ariana is the biggest activist I know upstate. She on everything, every march, every little pop up thingy like that. Just like I would consider that like a fair in a way to like.
They're calling it a parade, like that's what the flyer says.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I think it's gonna be different because of the pandemic. That's why.
Yeah, and then plus it kind of looks cloudy upstate today,
Yeah.
so
I was hoping it was gonna be sunny today.
I know, right? It's only gonna be 70 the highest. I'm just like I'm already here in a hoodie. I was freezing. But yeah. So then continuing, you can also be an ally, like Ariana said, volunteer or donate to organizations that support the LGBTQ plus folks. Become an advocate, whether it's at your job, school, etc., to create an inclusive environment where everyone feels safe. Educate yourself as well and others, because the more you learn, the more you're able to teach other people later on with the new information you have in your mind. And don't forget to share this episode, because we talk about certain things in this episode, along with many other episodes that also helps to educate and share different views and opinions. And maybe there's something that we mentioned in here that you did not know, because there was a few things in here that we didn't even know. So I highly doubt that you knew it before too. So unless you are a part of the community, then maybe you knew. But besides that, share this episode, because maybe you can help create awareness somehow else, you know?
So for the last portion of this episode, we reached out to people in the LGBTQ plus community. What does Pride Month mean to you? So after my introduction here, you're gonna hear a few people that are actually part of the community sharing their thoughts of what Pride Month means to you. And shout out to everybody that participated, and thank you, and hope you guys enjoy these clips.
Hi, my name is Natalie. My pronouns are she and her, and I am a lesbian. To me, Pride is not just the celebration of Stonewall and Marsha P. Johnson, but also a celebration of validation. There's something that feels just so good when you see another person and they're like you. Growing up in a very homophobic household, I felt like I was a freak and, I wasn't normal. And just, growing older and realizing that there are tons of other people just like me is just this wonderful, validating experience as a human being, to be able to come and be together as a part of something. All of us just come together as humanity.
What does pride actually mean to me? Pride means so much more to me than I could ever put into words. I've made so many friends through the LGBTQ plus community. So first of all, it stands for friendship. But most importantly, in my opinion, it stands for the opportunity to truly be yourself without being judged for it. And I think that's what's missing from our world, from society in general. just the opportunity to be yourself. And I think that acceptance is what we all aspire to. So that's what pride is to me. What I would like to let others know is that what bothers me most are labels. People see somebody with long hair, it's automatically a woman for them. They see somebody with short hair, it's automatically a man. People need to understand that gender goes beyond your looks. It's something that everybody defines individually. And I think if people come to terms with that, if people understand that, that would be a huge step for our society. And if there are any questions about gender, about sexuality, about anything that concerns the LGBTQ plus community, just ask. There is no harm in asking. And that's way better than just talking about it behind somebody's back and making fun of it.
What does Pride Month mean to me? It means being compassionate towards others and respecting other people, regardless if they're different than you. A lot of people just want respect, and for the most part, Pride is just about accepting yourself and accepting others. All the LGBTQ community wants is just to be accepted and understood. And I think that a lot of people should learn from that. There's a lot of places where they don't have the opportunity to be who they want to be or freely express how they feel, and they have to hide that. And it's sad. It really is sad, because whether you can't understand or relate because you've never liked someone of the same sex, it still goes for, just any love that you have in general. It sucks, and not being able to show the person you love that you love them is a really big struggle. And even if you're not in like a third world country, a lot of people here are afraid to go and hold hands with their partner because they're afraid that they'll get beat up or harassed, or someone will get hurt in the end, whether it's a parent who doesn't agree with the situation or it's just a stranger. So Pride is about being together, feeling accepted, because you are around people who are in this community that understand your pain and understand that it doesn't make you a bad person to want to express, your life the way you do. And so forget about all the marketing that goes on in June, all the rainbows. I think that is just so lazy from all these companies. It's about the community in general. It's just about feeling accepted and feeling like you are an actual human. But that's what Pride means to me.
My name is Kirsty, and I identify as pansexual. Well, being a part of the LGBTQ plus community is being unapologetically yourself and not caring if people accept you or not. I think what people should know about us is that we love people for their souls, and it goes way deeper than their physical appearance. We often get misidentified with being bisexual, but there's a huge difference. Being pansexual is looking past if the person was once a female or a male and just loving them for who they are and who they are becoming.
I feel like we have so many things for this season's bloopers. Like, got that video of me crying.
Nah, the moth.
Yeah, the moth, freaking, our mistakes with pronunciation, all that ish, yo. Like when I went to your house and we were trying to record, yo, bloopers on bloopers on bloopers. Like, I'm already ready. You could add this into this episode also, because now we're just realizing that season 2 is coming. Literally was getting emotional in the beginning when I realized, like, I feel like this is gonna be something that's just an ongoing thing every end of the season. Like, it's just gonna click in my head once we start recording that, oh wait, this is my last introduction for like 2 months. Oh, last time we're going to be doing this in general for like 2 months. And it's just like crazy. Because even yesterday, guys, me and Ariana were on the phone talking. And I was just like, yeah, so we're going to record this episode in the morning. And if you want to record another episode for later on in the week, we could also record that at nighttime if you have time after the event. And she was like, Tati, this is our last episode. And I was just like, I was like, oh my God, you're right. And it was just like, it just hit me. But yeah, so here we are, literally a year later. We're not gonna be posting by the time our
We'll
one
definitely do the IG post. I think our first episode dropped July something.
yeah, it was in July, for a fact. But what's it called? It's just like so crazy to me because like this is the only thing like in my life so far. I want to say like it's not like a job, but this is something that I do out of like because I want to do it and everything. Because even my coworkers be like, "You have a podcast about like politics and all that stuff, and you do it because you want to." I was like, "Yeah, the fact." But it's just like weird that I never thought I would like pull through with this in a way. I thought like you would have flaked on me and I would have been like, okay, cool. I never have to do it again. I've done that with my YouTube channels in the past. I had multiple YouTube channels with different people, my own YouTube channels, and they all ended after a certain point because I just couldn't follow through with it. But you, Ariana keeps me on track. Yo, she'd be like, so when we're recording, when's the document done? She's like, did you finish editing? Is it on Instagram yet? I was like, yo. I was like, but it's good though, because then like, here we are, like 2 seasons later, a whole year later.
Yeah. It's definitely it is a lot of work behind the scenes, but it's worth it, honestly. When people like repost us, send us messages, or my friends text me and we talk about an episode, like that all means a lot to us.
Yeah, for real. Like my heart's like feels so full right now. But yeah, guys, so that basically concludes this week's topic. We're gonna get into the brief current events for this last week. Well, by the time you guys hear this, these events were last week. But yeah. Also, another disclaimer. Ariana had mentioned this a little bit right before, but even though our season 2 is ending, what's it called? We will still be posting on Instagram, and sometimes our Twitter. Our Twitter is pretty dead, but I'll try to make it more active while we're on the break. So make sure you check it out eventually. I'll post some funny stuff on there. But all right, so the first current event has to do with New York City school districts. They lift the mask mandate for outdoors. On Monday, June 7th, Governor Cuomo announced the school districts can choose to lift the requirement that their students must wear masks outdoors. Masks still have to be worn inside the building. And for New York City public schools, DOE, masks are still required indoors and outdoors for the following year of 2021 to 2022. All New York State schools will reopen for full in-person learning by the next school year.
Yeah. Means I have to go back to work in person.
I'm gonna be in the city every day from upstate, bugging.
I'm already gonna start practicing this summer, so I'm getting myself, mentally prepared for this.
Yeah, I have this semester off. By the time fall comes, may take this whole school year off. We'll see how I feel, but it's just like, wow.
Yeah, a lot of things are going back in person in the fall, including my school.
Oh my God, guys! Speaking of no mask, so my job now, they opened the bathrooms up for the public, which was something that was just close to just us, and then it became a thing where you don't have to wear a mask at work if you're vaccinated, and my managers wouldn't like ask us for proof of vaccination and everything. So like I could walk around the store without a mask and be fine. And we also have a sign in front of the door saying now, like, oh, like if you're vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask. If you are vaccinated, if you're not vaccinated, please wear a mask. But what's it called? So like the other day, yesterday, when I was working, it was just so weird. Like, I'm not vaccinated, guys. You know this. But I was able to be behind the register with the plastic divider obviously in front of me and actually take down my mask for once and like actually talk to a customer. And it was just like so weird because I'm like, wait, she's seeing my mouth, she's seeing my facial expressions. Like, I have to be careful because I was literally looking at her like if she was dumb also because she was not listening to anything I was saying. I was just like, girl, whatever. But like I had it only for that one customer and then I was like, oh wait, and then I just brought it back up. But then it was also just because I needed to breathe for a second. I was drinking my coffee. And then other customers, like throughout the whole day, I barely had any customers that had a mask on. And even those that were vaccinated, they were like, oh, I didn't know if I could take it off and whatever. I was like, yeah, it's at your own risk. It's like up to you, girl.
Yeah.
Don't know.
And I went to supermarket yesterday and there was people with no mask. My brother who goes to the gym, Planet Fitness, he said basically everybody does not wear a mask at Planet Fitness by where I live. And I'm like, okay.
Well, I'm planning to go back to Planet Fitness while I'm upstate, but like in another town over, not even this one. But I do think if I went to the one over here, definitely would see some people without a mask.
Oh, for sure. If they're doing it where like I live around here, they definitely.
In my area, my gym is a big one too. So
I've passed that Planet Fitness.
Yeah. But yeah, so the next current event.
New York City votes to end solitary confinement in city jails, which is a great thing. So on Tuesday, June 8th, the New York Board of Correction, an independent oversight board for the city jail system, voted to end solitary confinement in the city jails. Solitary confinement is a form of restrictive housing where inmates are locked in their cells for 20 to 24 hours each day. For those who don't know, like solitary confinement damages people's mental, physical, like emotional health. And
literally go insane.
We could probably do a whole episode like next season of how it affects. I remember I did a whole paper on this. It only takes 7 days for a person to like start seeing the negative effects in solitary confinement, and some people stay there for years, months. Yeah.
Months? Yeah, you come out of there with like hearing the voices and seeing figures.
People be like smearing this is if you're eating, pause this or skip.
No.
People be smearing their poop on their like on the walls and shit. Like people be going nuts in there because there's not enough.
People be going nuts in there. But no,
yeah,
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's really bad. And Mayor de Blasio reported, the New York City mayor, New York City is going further than any jail system in America to ban solitary confinement once and for all. A new alternative discipline model will take place in the fall of 2021. This new model took 4 years to develop with the help of people who actually like experience solitary confinement in New York City jails, practitioners, which means doctors, families, officers, and advocates. So yeah, this is when I saw this, I was like, wow, like this is good. I remember back in like I think 2016 they banned solitary confinement if you were 16 and if serious like mental health illness. But now they're banning it for sure. So
well, that's good.
Yeah.
Did not know anything about like that solitary confinement thing for like the life of me. Like now I'm thinking if I was in that situation, I literally go psycho.
Yeah.
Because then I'm also scared of the dark. So imagine when it's nighttime in there. Don't. No. So then, yeah, the next current event. So the next current event has to do with Charlottesville City Council. They vote to remove Confederate statues. On Monday, June 7th, Charlottesville, VA. VA is where? Virginia? Virginia?
Yeah.
It is?
Yeah, Virginia.
Okay, so on Monday, June 7th, Charlottesville, VA, which is Virginia, voted to take down the Robert E. Lee statue from Market Street and Thomas J. Stonewall Jackson statue from Court Square Park. Both Robert E. Lee and Thomas J. Jackson were American Confederates during the American Civil War. Both of these statues represent symbols of racism and white supremacy. The state has a 30-day window to remove both statues. Nice. What's it called? But weren't these statues like also an issue when like BLM first started?
Yeah, like I
Like,
remember when BLM first started, there was people taking down the statues themselves.
yeah, I was like, have I heard these names from? I was like, and I just remember like they were like statues, like people were literally like putting graffiti over, trying to knock down, and those names sound pretty familiar. So,
Yeah. I know they're just statues, but like, you know, if you see a statue, it's very easy for a person to think, oh, this person did a lot for the state or the country, and like they have a lot of power and they were like good people. We look up to this person. Like that's what, when people see a big statue, that's what like I think that's what naturally like comes to mind. So having it, you know, take down like shows a lot, you know, for me at least.
for real. So then, yeah, guys, that concludes episode 40. And we'll catch you next time. Peace.
Peace out. Have a great and safe summer, everybody that's listening. And yeah, and catch ya season
Catch
3.
you on the flip side.
We'll come back bigger and better. Like always, each season we would come back bigger and better.